Love and Light friends, coming at you today from Kernersville, North Carolina. I think I'm going to do a part 2 to my Aliens Come From Within video. And give a shout out to one of my friends out there, Mr. Ramsey. Was requesting a video, and it's a pretty good request actually, because what it is like, I know a lot of people out there, if you once you awaken, once you come out of the matrix, or you begin to come out of the matrix, people around you that are still locked into the matrix think you're crazy, think you're a conspiracy theorist, think all these things that are, these are preset programs. I mean, the society, you've been raised in a society that has taught you to call anything outside the quote-unquote norm, anything outside of that norm is just automatically crazy, and you automatically get rolling eyes like the bobblehead dolls and stupid comments from a brain that's literally plugged into the matrix. So if you're somebody like me, I'm a little older, I've been around a little longer, I could give a damn less what any fool thinks or says. It really matters not to me what they think or what they say. But I realize, you know, there is a lot of younger people that are just not buying into this whole matrix thing to begin with. So in other words, the programs that worked on my generation to program them and sort of set up all the preset settings are not working on the younger people. I'm not saying all of them across the board. I would doubt very many after 2012 it's going to work on. But there's still younger people that were before 2012, and it's just not working. The mind control tactics are just not working like they have in the past, and this has everything to do with the vibratory rate of the planet and the change that took place around 2012 and other things. But I mean, that's, if you want to get to the root of it, which I always try to do with everything, I try to get to the root of it. Like, let's go to the source of whatever it is. So for the younger people that are struggling, I feel you. I feel your struggle. I know what it's like. My whole life was that struggle, has been that struggle, because I was one of the people that just wasn't gonna get programmed by this matrix, wasn't gonna go along with it, wasn't gonna keep my mouth shut. And that causes a lot of problems for you, even if you're not a troublemaker, which I was not a troublemaker. And I didn't have a lot of problems, I guess, as far as like with the law and stuff like that. But just trouble within. Trouble anytime, you know, you're having to directly deal with this matrix, or the matrix mind, the people in the matrix that have a matrix mind. It's very difficult to deal with them, because you really can't communicate with them. All you can do is attempt to communicate with them. But see, to truly communicate, you need two people that can get on the same wavelength. If you can't get on the same wavelength, you're really not going to communicate very well, if at all. And so, like I was telling Ramsey, you have to be like an undercover agent sometimes. Depending on who you're around and where you're at and all this, sometimes you just have to not say anything. Which doesn't seem right, because why should we be silenced? Why should we not be able, because everybody else, boy, the matrix mind and the egos, they got no problem telling you their opinion. They got no problem running their mouths. They got no problem stereotyping anybody they don't like, or if somebody just says something they don't agree with, they got no problem putting that shit in its place. But see, we are of a higher standard, if you will. Because if you get in that arena with egos, then it's like you got into a ring and now it's just a battle to who's the stronger willed ego. And who's gonna submit who. And see, I don't have much time for that. But everybody's got to do, you know, the best thing you can do ever, no matter what, is follow your heart and get tuned in to your heart. Get used to thinking with your heart, using your heart, trusting your heart, and it'll guide you. It'll guide you. And listen to your intuition. Go with your gut, you know, and you'll know when to engage in battle and when to leave your sword at your side. You don't have to, but I mean, you'll be happier when you find people that resonate with you. Now again, this is not easy. I mean, it might be easy, but it might not be. And you may have to spend, the thing you got to realize is you've got to become so comfortable with yourself that you can be just with yourself and be completely satisfied with that. Like a lot of people have especially young people, have this, my daughter for one, has this idea that you can't really be happy unless you're surrounded by other people, unless you're constantly, I'm just going to say, being a busybody. And that's not necessarily a negative. By being busybody, that doesn't necessarily mean negative. It just means that people get this idea that you have to have people all around you. You got to have all these friends. You got to have all this stuff going on all the time and all that. But you really don't. Especially if you're comfortable with yourself. You would be surprised how much happiness and joy you can generate just on your own in a good meditation session, or after drinking some really fresh, wholesome, living food or drink, or tuning into a video that lifts your resonance or vibratory rate if you were perhaps feeling a little low. If you're into crystals, handling, or crystals and herbs and whatnot, you can get a boost of energy from just handling crystals and dealing with certain herbs. You would be surprised how much satisfaction you could feel by sitting down at a blank piece of paper and drawing something, creating something. In other words, getting that right brain engaged more in your life, because we again have been steered by this matrix, and the matrix has got everybody in their left brain. The left brain is controlled by the right side of the body. That's why the majority of people are writing with their right hand. Your left brain is really neglected. And when you come out of the matrix, if you can begin doing things to get that right brain more engaged, therefore your mind will balance out. The two hemispheres will get more synchronized, which brings about the balance, which brings about more clarity. And the more clarity you get, man, the absolute better you feel through and through. And there's all kinds of techniques for getting more clarity. So that's it. I just wanted to make a little part 2 here and kind of address to the young people that are coming out of the matrix and feel utterly alone or lost or crazy, or you know, maybe your parents are like labeling you, and I know that's hard. I mean, until you get to a certain level, it's hard to deal with all that. But eventually, trust me, you will get to a level where it won't matter what anybody says. It won't matter what anything from the external is happening. You will be rock solid. You will be clear. You will have vitality. You will have the power over you. You will be immovable like a rock. So work on yourself. Don't worry so much about what's going on in the external, in the matrix. I mean, it's never ending. Trust me, this has been going on for my entire life, and then before that with this whole matrix thing, where they constantly are trying to pull people's attention into the monkey show, into the circus, and it feels like, oh, they're advancing, they're gonna overtake, you know, the evil is gonna overtake the good. That's what it is made to seem, but it's not true. It's an illusion. It's not real. What it's really about is you, your state of consciousness. That is what your experience here is about. How awake can you awaken from the deep state of sleep that we've all been in? Everybody, before they're awake, is dead asleep. Think about it. You could not wake up if you were not first asleep. Love and light to everybody. And I'm sure we will continue on. It seemed like there was some other thing I was going to add in, but I can't quite remember what it was. Maybe I covered it and I didn't realize it. Alright, peace out. Catch you soon.